fate was sealed, until fierce human soldiers joined the battle. Part 2. The Unexpected Signal. Approximately 1,200 words. The bridge of the Dawn's resolve stayed quiet after the human voice cut off. Everyone stared at the speakers, like they had heard a ghost. Commander Kale's mandibles clicked once, then stopped. General Torv crossed his thick arms and looked at Daniel Hayes. "More humans," Kale said slowly. "How many ships did they say?" 42, Daniel answered. 3 Marine battalions. That means at least 3,000 fighters on the ground, plus pilots and support crews. Laura Bennett typed fast on her panel. "Sensors confirm it now. 42 contacts dropping out of warp at the system edge. Small signatures, fast movers. They look like troop transports and escort frigates. Not much armor, but high acceleration." Kale turned his head toward the tactical display. The red Zorath icons still filled most of the screen. The allied green dots looked small and weak next to them. 42 ships against 400. It changes nothing. Daniel stepped closer. "It changes everything if they fight smart. Humans don't fight the same way your fleets do." Torv grunted. "We have seen human courage before. It is loud, it is short, then it dies." "Not this time," Daniel said. "Not when they're angry." On the main viewer, the new contacts moved quick. They did not form a neat battle line like the Virex or Lauren ships. They spread out wide, like a pack of wolves circling prey. Small flashes showed they were already launching fighters. Laura's eyes went wide. "They're not waiting for orders. Look, drop pods launching already, straight toward the planet. No formation, no cover fire from the fleet. They're just going in." Kale made a low sound in his throat. "The Zorath anti-air will tear them apart." Daniel smiled for the first time in days. "Watch." Down on the surface, Sergeant Ryan Mitchell heard the roar of engines overhead. He looked up through the smoke. Black shapes fell fast. Human drop pods, red, white, and blue stripes painted on the sides. They hit the ground hard, shaking the dirt. Hatches blew open. Men and women in heavy armor jumped out, rifles ready. Ryan's comm crackled. "This is Captain Ethan Carter, 7th Marines. Bravo, Charlie, Delta companies hitting dirt now. Sergeant Mitchell, you still alive down there?" Ryan laughed. "Barely, sir. Good to hear your voice." "Point me at the biggest problem," Ethan said. His voice was calm but hard. Ryan looked around the ruined street. Zorath walkers, tall machines with long legs and plasma cannons, moved through the buildings 2 blocks away. "Enemy armor column advancing on our position. 12 walkers, heavy infantry support. We got nothing left to stop them." "Copy," Ethan said. "We're 2 minutes out. Hold if you can. If not, fall back and let us handle it." Ryan checked his ammo. 3 magazines left. "We'll hold." He turned to his squad. The Virex and Lawrence watched him. "New plan," Ryan said. "The Marines are coming. We keep these bugs busy until they arrive." Zik, the Virex soldier, tilted his head. "You trust these new humans that much?" Ryan shrugged. "I trust that they hate losing more than they hate dying." Back in orbit, the Dawn's resolve shook as another Allied ship exploded nearby. Laura called out updates. "Zorath pushing harder on the left flank. They're trying to cut us off from the jump point." Daniel watched the human ships. They flew straight at the enemy line. No fancy maneuvers, just speed and straight lines. Their fighters, small, ugly, covered in extra guns, swarmed out and started hitting Zorath escorts. "They're drawing fire," Laura said, "pulling Zorath attention away from our main fleet." Kale stared. Reckless. Brave, but reckless. Daniel nodded. "That's how we win when we're outnumbered." A new voice came over the fleet channel. Rough, female, with no fear in it. "This is Corporal Olivia Grant, leading Assault Team Alpha, dropping on Grid 7-9er. We see the orbital battery the bugs are using to pound your ships. We're taking it. Need anyone who can still walk to link up." Daniel looked at Laura. "Patch me through." Laura nodded. "You're live, Captain. Corporal Grant, this is Captain Hayes on Dawn's Resolve. You have ground support from Sergeant Mitchell's unit, 2 kilometers west. Coordinates incoming. Good hunting. Olivia's voice came back fast. See you after we blow that battery to hell. The channel closed. On the planet, Ryan's squad opened fire again. Plasma bolts answered. A Loran next to him took a hit and fell. Ryan dragged him behind cover. Stay down, big guy. Then he heard it. Boots running. Human boots. A squad in dark green armor charged past his position. They did not stop to talk. They just kept moving toward the enemy walkers. One Marine stopped long enough to toss Ryan a fresh magazine. From the 7th. Use it. Ryan caught it. Thanks. The Marine grinned under his helmet. Don't thank me yet. We got work to do. Ryan watched them go. They moved different. Not careful steps like the Virex. Not heavy stomps like the Lorens. Quick, low, aggressive. They shot while moving. They flanked. They threw grenades without counting the cost. One walker turned toward them, its cannon charged. Before it fired, a human rocket slammed into its leg joint. More rockets followed. The walker crashed down in sparks and smoke. Ryan stood up. Come on, he told his squad. We're not sitting this out. They followed the Marines forward. In orbit, the human ships kept pushing. One frigate, small patched hull, took heavy hits but did not turn away. It rammed a Zorath escort, tearing through its side. Both ships broke apart in a fireball. Laura gasped. They sacrificed the ship to take out an enemy cruiser. Daniel clenched his fist. That's what they do. Cale watched the display. For the first time, some green icons on the Allied side started moving forward again. Not many, but some. The fleet sees it, Cale said quietly. They see humans refuse to break. It stirs them. Torv nodded slowly. Maybe we were wrong to plan surrender so soon. Daniel looked at the screen. The Zorath line still looked strong, but now small holes appeared where humans attacked. Drop pods kept falling. More voices filled the comms. Orders, jokes, curses, battle cries. A new signal came in. Sergeant Ryan Mitchell. Captain Hayes, this is Mitchell. We're linking with Captain Carter's team. The orbital battery is under attack. Looks like we'll take it in the next 10 minutes. Your ship should feel the difference soon. Daniel answered. Good work, Sergeant. Hold it when you take it. We'll cover you from above. Copy that. And sir, tell the fleet to get ready. Things are about to get loud. The channel closed. Daniel turned to Cale and Torv. Fate was sealed. Everyone thought so. But humans don't read the fine print. Cale's mandibles moved in what might have been respect. Your people are strange. But right now, strange is what we need. Outside the viewport, the battle changed. Not all at once. Not clean. But it changed. The Zorath still came. They still had numbers. But now something else was in the fight. Something that did not know how to quit. And the stars watched. Fate was sealed. Until fierce human soldiers joined the battle. Part 3. Humans hit the ground. The drop pods kept falling like iron rain. They punched through the smoke and hit the planet hard. Dirt flew up in clouds. Hatches slammed open. Human soldiers poured out fast. They wore dark green armor, scratched from old fights. Their rifles had extra grips and sights taped on. No clean lines, just weapons built to work. Captain Ethan Carter landed first in his company's zone. He was broad-shouldered, with a short beard and eyes that never stopped moving. He jumped out, rolled once, and came up shooting. A Zorath drone buzzed low. Ethan put 3 rounds through its core. It crashed in sparks. Move, move, he shouted. Form on me. We take that ridge. Behind him came Corporal Olivia Grant. She was shorter but fast. Her helmet visor was cracked from a past drop, but she never replaced it. She liked the reminder. Olivia carried a heavy machine gun like it weighed nothing. She set it up on a broken wall and opened fire. Bullets tore through Zorath infantry that tried to flank them. The Zorath had expected weak, tired aliens. They got humans instead. On the ridge ahead stood a line of Zorath walkers, 8 legs each, plasma cannons on top. They moved slow but steady. Their shots burned holes in the ground. Ethan pointed. Olivia, suppress those walkers. Rest of you, flank left. Use the buildings for cover. Olivia grinned under her helmet. On it, sir. She squeezed the trigger. The gun roared. Rounds punched into the nearest walker's joints. Sparks flew. The machine stumbled. 2 more humans ran up with rocket launchers. They fired at the same time. The walker exploded in a ball of green fire. Sergeant Ryan Mitchell watched from his old position. His squad had linked up with Ethan's team. Ryan reloaded his rifle and nodded to Ethan. Good to see you, Captain. Ethan clapped him on the shoulder. Same. You held this street longer than most would. Now, we push. Ryan looked at the Virex and Lauren fighters nearby. They stared at the humans like they saw something impossible. Zik, the Virex, clicked his mandibles. You charge straight at death, Zik said. No plan, no retreat. Ryan shrugged. Plan is simple. Kill more of them than they kill of us. Zik made a sound close to a laugh. Humans are mad. Mad works, Ryan said. In orbit, Lieutenant Laura Bennett tracked the ground fight on her screen. Small blue dots, human squads, moved fast across the map. They did not hold neat lines. They darted, struck, pulled back, then struck again. Zorath red dots started to thin in places. Captain Hayes, Laura said, ground teams report the orbital battery is down. No more anti-ship fire from that sector. Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge and let out a long breath. Good. Tell our pilots to hit the gaps. The Dawn's resolve turned slightly. Its main guns fired. Beams lanced out and struck a Zorath cruiser that had lost its shields. The enemy ship broke in half. Commander Kale watched the same feed. His large eyes narrowed. The humans fight without fear of pain, he said. I see wounds on their feeds. Cuts, burns, broken bones. They keep moving. General Torv nodded slowly. Lorens feel pain too, but we stop when it is too much. They do not. Daniel looked at them. We learn to push through it, or we die. Simple choice. Down on the surface, Olivia Grant's team reached the captured battery. The big gun tower stood silent now. Zorath bodies lay everywhere. Some still twitched. Olivia kicked one over. Clear the area. Set charges on the power cores. We don't want them fixing this. A young private named Jacob Ellis ran up. He was skinny, fast, and always carried extra grenades. Corporal, enemy counterattack coming. 2 companies, plus walkers. Olivia checked her ammo. How long? 3 minutes. She laughed. Plenty of time. She turned to her squad. Dig in here. Use the battery walls for cover. Ryan's people, take the left side. We hold until the fleet can breathe. Ryan nodded, and led his mixed squad into position. The Virex followed without argument now. They saw what humans could do. The Zorath came hard, infantry first, then walkers. Plasma rained down. Olivia stood up and fired her machine gun from the hip. Bullets chewed through the front line. A plasma bolt hit her shoulder plate. Armor cracked. She grunted, but kept shooting. Keep it up, she yelled. They bleed too. Jacob tossed a grenade. It landed under a walker. The explosion flipped it onto its back. Legs kicked uselessly. Ryan moved along the line. He saw a Laran soldier pinned by fire. Ryan ran out, grabbed the big alien, and dragged him back. Bullets pinged off his armor. Thanks, human, the Laran said. Don't mention it, Ryan answered. Just stay in the fight. Above them, human fighters screamed through the sky. They flew low and fast. Missiles streaked out and slammed into Zorath air support. One fighter took a direct hit. It spun but stayed flying. The pilot, Specialist Megan Foster, kept control and dropped bombs on an enemy column. Megan's voice came over comms. Battery sight, this is Foster. Air cover inbound. Give me targets. Olivia answered. Walkers on the east ridge. Mark them. Megan rolled her fighter. Marked. Bombs away. Explosions walked across the ridge. Walkers burned. The Zorath line broke. Some tried to run. Humans did not let them. They pushed forward. No pause. Ethan Carter led the final charge. He jumped over a fallen wall and landed among Zorath infantry. His rifle barked. Bodies dropped. He switched to his sidearm when the magazine ran dry. Still fighting. A Zorath officer, tall with glowing red eyes, charged him with blades. Ethan ducked, grabbed the arm, twisted and broke it. Then he put a round through the head. The fight ended quick after that. Ethan stood in the smoke. Blood ran down his arm. He did not notice. Olivia walked up. Her shoulders smoked. Battery secure, sir. Fleet reports relief. No more heavy fire from the surface. Ethan nodded. Good work. He looked around. Humans, Virex, Lorons, all mixed together now. Tired, hurt, but standing. Ryan joined them. We took it. All of it. Ethan clapped him on the back. Damn right. In orbit, Kale turned to Daniel. Your soldiers, they do not fight like soldiers. They fight like storms. Daniel watched the ground feed. Humans laughed as they patched wounds. They shared water. They reloaded. That's how we win, Daniel said. We don't stop until it's done. Laura smiled. Zorath are pulling back in that sector. First real retreat we've seen in months. Torv looked at the screen. They fear humans now. Daniel shook his head. Not fear yet. Respect. But fear comes next. Outside the viewport, the battle still raged. But the balance had shifted. Small at first, then bigger. Humans had hit the ground, and they refused to leave. The Zorath learned something new that day. Some enemies break when pushed. Others push back harder. And humans pushed hardest of all. Fate was sealed, until fierce human soldiers joined the battle. Part 4. The Turning Tide. The planet's surface looked like a graveyard of machines and metal. Smoke rose from burning Zorath walkers. Broken hulls lay everywhere. But the humans kept moving. They did not rest. They did not complain. They patched wounds with quick bandages and kept fighting. Captain Ethan Carter stood on a hill that used to hold a Zorath command post. Now it flew a torn human flag someone had tied to a broken pole. Ethan's arm bled through his sleeve. He ignored it. He looked down at the city below. His company had taken 3 blocks in the last hour. They used captured Zorath weapons now, plasma rifles that burned hot and fast. The aliens had not expected their own tech turned against them. Corporal Olivia Grant limped up beside him. Her shoulder plate was gone. She carried her heavy gun across her back like it was nothing. Battery is fully ours, sir, she said. We rigged the power cores to blow if they try to retake it. Ethan nodded. Good. Fleet feels it already. In orbit, Lieutenant Laura Bennett watched the tactical map change. For the first time in months, green Allied icons pushed forward instead of pulling back. Human squads appeared as bright blue dots. They moved like arrows, straight into enemy lines, breaking them apart. Captain Hayes, Laura said. Zorath fleet is shifting formation. They're spreading out to cover more ground. They're confused. Daniel Hayes stood with his hands behind his back. They planned for disciplined aliens, not for us. Commander Kale clicked his mandibles slowly. Your people improvise too fast. They take a Zorath gun, figure it out in minutes, and use it better than the makers. General Torv watched the same screen. I see Lawrence following them now. Virex too. They see humans do not break. It gives them strength. Daniel turned. That's how it starts. One push, then another. Then the whole line moves. Down on the ground, Sergeant Ryan Mitchell led a mixed squad through a ruined factory district. Humans, Virex, and Lawrence ran together. Ryan carried a Zorath plasma launcher he had taken from a dead enemy. It felt heavy, but it hit hard. They reached a street corner. Zorath infantry waited behind barricades. Ryan raised his hand. Everyone stopped. Olivia's team is hitting from the east, Ryan said. We go straight. Draw their fire. Let her flank. A Virex soldier named Zik looked at him. You will die first. Ryan grinned. Maybe, but not today. He stood up and charged. The squad followed. Bullets and plasma flew. Ryan fired the launcher. A bright bolt struck the barricade. It exploded in green fire. Zorath screamed and scattered. Olivia's voice came over comms. Give us 10 seconds. Ryan counted in his head. Then he yelled, Now! Olivia's heavy gun opened up from the side street. Bullets ripped through the Zorath line. Humans and aliens rushed forward together. They cleared the street block by block. In orbit, Daniel watched a daring move unfold. A small human boarding pod shot toward a Zorath command dreadnought. The pod looked tiny next to the huge enemy ship. That's Captain Hayes' team, Laura said. He's leading the boarding action himself. Kale stared. He takes his own ship into danger? Daniel's voice came over the fleet channel from inside the pod. This is Hayes. We're attaching to their port side. Marines, weapons hot. We take the bridge or we die trying. The pod slammed into the dreadnought's hull. Cutting torches burned through. Marines poured in. Private Jacob Ellis first, then Specialist Megan Foster, then Daniel himself. They fought in tight corridors. Zero gravity made it strange. Bodies floated. Blood formed red globes. Jacob moved like he was born for it. He kicked off walls, shot while spinning, took down 3 Zorath before they could aim. Megan hacked a door panel with a tool from her belt. Bridge access in 30 seconds. Daniel covered her. A Zorath charged. Daniel met it with a combat knife. He drove the blade into its neck. The body drifted away. They burst onto the bridge. Zorath officers turned in shock. Humans opened fire. The fight lasted less than a minute. The bridge fell silent, except for the hum of damaged systems. Daniel stood at the main console. Megan, lock us in. Jacob, set charges on the core controls. Megan's fingers flew. Controls locked. They can't fire on our fleet anymore. Daniel opened a channel. Dawn's resolve. This is Hayes. Dreadnought neutralized. Bridge secured. We're turning their guns on the rest of their fleet. Laura's voice answered. Copy that. We see it. Enemy formation breaking. On the surface, word spread fast. The big dreadnought in orbit started firing on other Zorath ships. Cheers rose from human lines. Even the aliens joined in. Ethan Carter heard it over comms. He looked at his company. They took a dreadnought from the inside. Now we finish this city. He led the final push. Humans used captured Zorath hover tanks. They drove straight through enemy positions. Olivia walked beside one tank, gun blazing. Ryan flanked with his squad. The Zorath tried to hold a central plaza. They set up heavy weapons. But humans did not stop. They threw smoke grenades. They rushed under fire. They climbed buildings to drop explosives from above. Jacob Ellis climbed a tower alone. He reached the top and looked down. Zorath commanders stood below. He pulled pins on 2 grenades and dropped them. The blast scattered the officers. The line collapsed. Ethan reached the plaza center. He planted a human flag on the broken statue there. City's ours. Olivia joined him. Casualties? Light for what we did, Ethan said. They fought hard. We fought harder. Back on the Dawn's resolve, Kale approached Daniel. I was wrong, Kale said. I thought defeat was certain. Your people showed me otherwise. Daniel looked out at the stars. We don't accept sealed fates. We break them. Torv spoke next. The war is not over. But today, we pushed back. Laura smiled. Zorath fleet is retreating in 3 sectors. First time they've run since the war began. Daniel nodded. They know fear now. Not just respect. On the planet, Ethan, Olivia, and Ryan stood together. Wounded soldiers sat nearby. Medics worked fast. Aloran handed Ryan a water pack. No words, just a nod. Ryan drank. We did it. Olivia looked up at the sky. Not done yet, but we turned it. Ethan stared at the horizon. Smoke still rose, but Allied ships moved forward now. The tide had turned. Humans had shown what they could do. They adapted. They fought dirty when needed. They never quit. The Zorath Empire felt it. Their perfect plan cracked. Their unstoppable march slowed. And in the stars, the Allied fleet grew stronger. Not from numbers, from hope. Hope carried on fierce human shoulders. The battle was not won, but the losing streak ended. And that changed everything. Fate was sealed, until fierce human soldiers joined the battle. Part 5. Victory Unwritten. The sky above the planet burned with fire and light. Human fighters darted between Zorath's ships like angry insects. They flew close, too close, drawing enemy fire away from the bigger Allied vessels. Explosions lit up the black void. Debris spun in slow circles. Specialist Megan Foster gripped the controls of her fighter tight. Her cockpit shook from near misses. She rolled left, fired missiles at a Zorath interceptor, then pulled up hard. The enemy ship exploded behind her. Foster to fleet, she said into comms. I'm pulling their escorts off you. Hit the capital ships now. On the Dawn's Resolve, Lieutenant Laura Bennett relayed the message. Pilots confirm. Human fighters creating openings. Main guns, target the lead dreadnought. Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge. He watched the tactical display. Zorath icons started to blink red one by one. All ships, full advance. Do not let up. Commander Kale stood beside him. His mandibles moved slowly. Your fighters fly like they want to die. Daniel shook his head. They fly like they want to win. General Torv pointed at the screen. Look, the Zorath flagship is turning. It's trying to run. Daniel smiled thin. Too late. Down on the surface, Captain Ethan Carter led the last push toward the enemy's main landing zone. His company moved fast through ruined streets. Corporal Olivia Grant walked at his side, her heavy gun still smoking. Sergeant Ryan Mitchell covered their right flank with his mixed squad. They reached the open field where Zorath dropships sat in rows. Guards stood around them. Ethan raised his fist. Everyone stopped. Olivia, pin them down, Ethan said. Ryan, take your team around the left. We hit from 3 sides. She set her gun on a broken crate and opened fire. Bullets tore into the guards. Zorath dropped fast. Ryan waved his squad forward. They ran low and quiet. A Vyrek soldier named Zik stayed close to him now. Zik carried a human rifle he had learned to use. You lead like you were born for this, Zik said. Ryan kept his eyes on the target. We all were. They reached the first dropship. Ryan planted charges on the landing struts. 10 seconds. He ran back. The explosions ripped through the ships. Fuel lines caught fire. One after another, the dropships blew up in bright orange balls. Zorath troops rushed out to stop them, but humans and allies met them head-on. No retreat, no mercy. Private Jacob Ellis fought in the middle of it. He had lost his helmet somewhere. Blood ran down his face from a cut above his eye. He still shot straight. A Zorath charged him with blades. Jacob sidestepped, grabbed the arm, and broke it with a quick twist. Then, he finished the enemy with his knife. Olivia laughed as she saw it. Kids got moves. Above them, the battle in space reached its end. Sergeant Ryan Mitchell climbed onto the last intact Zorath command shuttle. He carried a bag of demo charges. His squad covered him while he worked. Charges set, he said into comms. 30 seconds to boom. He jumped down and ran. Behind him, the shuttle's engines whined as systems overloaded. The explosion lifted the whole craft off the ground before it tore apart. Ethan watched the fireball rise. That's their last heavy transport gone. Olivia lowered her gun. Smoke curled from the barrel. They can't reinforce anymore. The Zorath line broke completely. Some threw down weapons. Others tried to run to escape pods. Humans did not chase everyone. They took prisoners when they could. The fight slowed, then stopped. In orbit, the Zorath flagship listed to one side. Fires burned along its hull. Human boarding teams still fought inside, deck by deck. Daniel Hayes opened a channel to the enemy ship. "This is Captain Daniel Hayes, Allied Fleet. Your forces are defeated. Power down weapons and prepare to be boarded. Resistance ends now." No answer came at first. Then a weak voice in the clicking Zorath language. The translator made it clear. "We yield." Cheers erupted on the Dawn's resolve. Even Kale raised one clawed hand in respect. Daniel turned to his alien commanders. "It's over here, but the war goes on." Kale looked at him. "You turned what we saw as the end into a beginning. Your kind refused the script fate wrote." Torv nodded. "Lorens will remember this day. We fight beside humans now, not behind." Daniel said nothing. He looked out the viewport. The stars looked the same, but everything felt different. On the planet, Ethan, Olivia, and Ryan stood together in the central plaza. Allied banners rose on poles again. Smoke still drifted, but the air felt lighter. Olivia wiped blood from her cheek. "We did it." Ryan looked around. Wounded soldiers sat against walls. Medics moved between them. A Loran handed out water packs. A Virex helped carry a stretcher. "Yeah," Ryan said. "We did." Ethan stared at the sky. "Fleet's holding position. Zorath ships are pulling out system-wide." A young private ran up. "Sir, message from Captain Hayes. He says the line held, thanks to the ground teams." Ethan smiled. "Tell him we say thanks right back." They stood quiet for a moment. The planet had scars, cities in ruins, but it still belonged to the living. Kale's shuttle landed nearby. The Virex commander stepped out. He walked to Ethan and offered a salute, something his people rarely did to outsiders. "Your actions saved more than this world," Kale said. "You saved belief. Many of us had forgotten how to hope." Ethan returned the salute. "We just did our job." Kale's mandibles clicked softly. "Your job changes wars." He turned and walked back to his shuttle. Olivia looked at Ethan. "What now?" Ethan shrugged. "We patch up, we rearm. Then we go after the next system they hold." Ryan laughed. "Sounds about right." In the days that followed, stories spread. Across Allied worlds, people talked about the humans who arrived when everything looked lost. They talked about soldiers who charged when others retreated, who laughed in the face of death, who turned defeat into legend. The Zorath Empire pulled back, not forever, but far enough to breathe. Their leaders met in dark chambers and spoke in low voices. They had planned everything, they had calculated every move, but they had not calculated humans. They broke them. And in breaking them, they wrote a new story, one where fate was not sealed, one where fierce soldiers could still change everything. The war continued. Bigger battles waited, but the Allied forces now carried something new. They carried proof that even when the line breaks, when hope fades, when the end seems written, humans show up, and they refuse to let it end. The stars kept burning, and somewhere in them, human voices laughed, reloaded, and kept moving forward. Victory was not the end. It was just the start. Fate was sealed, until fierce human soldiers joined the battle. Part 1. The Breaking Point. Approximately 1,200 words. The war had lasted 7 long years. The Zorath Empire pushed forward like a dark wave across the stars. Their ships were huge, covered in living metal that grew and changed during battle. No one could stop them for long. One system after another fell. Planets burned. Whole species ran or died. Now the last strong defense line stood at the Orion verge. This was a narrow stretch of space with only a few good jump points. If the Zorath broke through here, nothing could stop them from reaching the heart of Allied space. The Allied fleet waited in position. Their ships looked tired. Many had black burn marks on the hulls. Others floated dead, with no power. On the bridge of the flagship Dawn's Resolve, Captain Daniel Hayes stood with his arms crossed. He was tall, with short brown hair and calm blue eyes. He had served with the Allied forces for 4 years now. He knew the aliens well. They were brave, but they followed rules too strictly. When things looked bad, they started to plan for the end, instead of fighting harder. Next to him stood Lieutenant Laura Bennett. She was young, with short black hair and quick hands on the control panel. She watched the big screen that showed hundreds of red dots moving closer. Each dot was a Zorath ship. Enemy count now at 412 capital class, Laura said in a low voice. Our side has 183 ships still able to fight. Ammo reserves below 20%. Power cores on half the fleet are red. Daniel nodded, but did not speak. He already knew the numbers. Everyone knew. Across the bridge, Commander Kale of the Virex Collective clicked his mandibles. The Virex were tall insect-like beings, with hard shells and many arms. Kale wore the silver marks of high command on his chestplate. His large black eyes looked at the same screen. The line will break in less than 3 hours, Kale said. His voice came through the translator in a flat tone. We have lost too many ships. The surface forces report heavy losses. The Zorath have landed on 3 continents already. A Loran officer named General Torv stood nearby. The Lorans were big, with thick gray skin and deep voices. Torv's fists were tight. We fight until the end, Torv said. That is our way. Kale turned his head slowly. Fighting until the end is noble, but it changes nothing if the end comes anyway. We must think of the civilians. Evacuation ships are ready. We should send the order now. Daniel felt his stomach turn. He had heard this talk before. The aliens were logical. When defeat was clear, they saved what they could and gave up the rest. Humans did not think that way. At least, not the humans Daniel knew. Sir, Daniel said to Kale, if we pull back now, the Zorath will chase the evacuation ships. They will slaughter them in open space. We need to hold longer. Kale looked at him. Captain Hayes, your people are brave, but bravery alone does not win against numbers like this. The simulations show 98% chance of total loss if we stay. Then the simulations are wrong, Daniel said. They do not count human stubbornness. Laura gave a small smile, but it faded fast. On the main screen, another Allied cruiser exploded in a bright flash. Pieces flew out in every direction. Cheers came from the Zorath side over open channels. They spoke in their harsh clicking language. The translator did not need to work for everyone to understand the meaning. Victory was close. Down on the planet below, Sergeant Ryan Mitchell led what was left of his mixed squad. Ryan was from Texas, built strong with a shaved head and a scar across his left cheek from an old fight. He crouched behind a broken wall in a ruined city. Around him were Virex soldiers and a few Lorans. They all looked tired. Their weapons still worked, but their eyes showed they had given up hope. Look at that, Ryan said. He pointed to the sky. Zorath landing craft came down in waves. Black smoke rose from burning buildings. One Virex soldier named Zik turned to him. It is over, human. We did what we could. Ryan spat on the ground. Not yet, it ain't. We still got bullets. We still got legs. We keep shooting until someone tells us different. Zik made a soft sound that might have been a laugh or sadness. You humans never know when to stop. That's the point, Ryan said. We don't. Back on the Dawn's Resolve, the bridge was quiet, except for the soft beeps of warning alarms. Daniel walked to the big window that looked out at the stars. He saw the Allied ships in tight formation. Beyond them, the Zorath fleet looked like a storm cloud ready to break. Laura came up beside him. Captain, the admirals are voting now. They want to send surrender terms in 30 minutes. Daniel kept looking out. They can vote all they want. I'm not ready to quit. You think we can hold? Laura asked. No, Daniel said honestly, but I think we can make them pay so much that they remember this place for a long time. A new alert sounded. Laura ran back to her station. Her face changed. Incoming signal, she said. It's human. From the outer edge of the system. Unencrypted. Open channel. Daniel turned fast. Play it. Laura tapped the controls. A rough male voice filled the bridge. Had a strong accent from somewhere in the American South. This is Bravo Company, 7th Marines, Terran Expeditionary Force. Sorry we're late. Warp storms held us up. We got 42 ships, 3 full Marine battalions, heavy armor, and a bad attitude. Who's in charge up there, and where do you need us? Silence fell over the bridge. Kale's mandibles stopped moving. Torv's eyes opened wide. Even the Virex technicians looked up from their screens. Daniel felt something warm in his chest for the first time in weeks. He stepped forward. This is Captain Daniel Hayes, Dawn's Resolve. Bravo Company, you are very welcome. Fall in behind our left flank. We have a job for you. The voice came back, laughing. Copy that, Captain. See you planetside. Try not to die before we get there. The channel closed. Daniel looked around the bridge. The aliens stared at him like he had grown a second head. Kale spoke first. More humans? How many? Enough, Daniel said. Enough to change things. Laura smiled for real this time. They sound angry. Good, Daniel said. We need angry, right now. Outside, the Zorath kept coming. They did not know yet that something new had entered the fight. Something that did not follow the rules of defeat. Something that refused to accept a sealed fate. On the planet, Ryan Mitchell heard the same message over his helmet comm. He grinned wide. Boys and girls, he said to his squad, the cavalry's here, and they're pissed.